This school is not exactly ordinary because it's divided into two sections. One section is for the nerdy students whose whole lives revolve around studying. They're always top of the class every year. The second section is for students like us, the failures who don't care about academics but excel in sports and always win in any competition. I don't know which type you are, dear viewer. We meet one of them, named Leo, a handsome young guy, but a failure academically. His whole life is about sports and competitions. Despite that, all the teachers respect him. No one dares to confront him because he always takes first place in championships. On the other hand, we see a nerdy girl named Yoon, the most beautiful girl in school. All the boys like her, but she doesn't care about them at all. She never even acknowledges them and is always focused on her studies. That's why people say she's like a robot. We find out she's the class president of the nerd group, and she's the only one allowed to enter the failures class to collect the books after the other students finish with them. One day she finds out 4 books are missing, the ones that belong to Leo and his friends. They're always causing trouble and don't care about rules. Yoon uses her intelligence and loudly announces that she has collected all the books to trick them. Her plan works. One of the students goes to the hiding spot to check on the books, and Yoon follows and discovers their location. She tries to take them, but he tries to trip her to stop her. She almost falls. But guess what? Our hero Leo catches her just in time. They both stare at each other, but Leo accidentally steps on the microphone. Everyone hears it. Yoon is shocked, slaps him, scolds him, and walks away. The whole school hears their fight. Leo feels embarrassed because he looked bad in front of the students. He starts thinking with his friends about how to get revenge on her. They remind him that tomorrow is the school's sports day, and all students must participate because it affects their grades. Leo and his friends decide to take the opportunity to get revenge on the nerds and restore their pride. The next day, the nerds show up in nice sportswear, looking good. On the other hand, the failures wear whatever and look unbothered, but they're confident in their abilities. They pretend they want to help the nerds and ask the coach to let them train together. That was their mistake. The failures start messing with them, knocking them down, wiping the floor with them, and basically breaking their bones. They keep mocking and bullying them, calling them weak. The nerds get angry and start fighting back. They decide to take on a challenge to prove that they can defeat them. Even though Yoon is a girl, she insists on participating in the challenge. The teams are divided and all the students gather excitedly to watch, eager to know who will win. The match begins. Leo and his friends are pros. They use their agility to dodge the balls being thrown at them. Meanwhile, the nerdy students know that the others may have physical skills, but they have intelligence. They start dodging the balls using their heads, literally thinking through each move. The teams are tied in score. Leo then throws the ball straight at a nerdy student's face, knocking him down, giving Leo's team an extra point. The nerds get mad and decide to take revenge. They pour water on the floor, and because of that, Leo and his friends slip. Leo gets angry and argues with them, saying it's cheating and against the rules. The field turns into a war zone. Everyone is fighting everyone. What a mess. At the same time, the school principal is with the governor, proudly telling him how the students are united and love each other like siblings. He leaves and heads to the field, only to find them practically breaking each other's bones. Furious, he stops the chaos immediately and sends them all to his office. He scolds them harshly and threatens punishment. He deducts grades and warns them that if anything like this happens again, they'll be expelled. The next day, Leo wakes up. We learn that his whole family is athletic, which explains why he's like that. He puts on his clothes to go to school. At that moment, he runs into the nerdy student. Turns out they're neighbors and live right across from each other, but neither of them can stand the other. They start arguing about what happened yesterday and nearly fight again. But then, Leo's mom comes out of the apartment, and the two have to pretend they're just joking around. They even hug and act like they're best friends as they walk off. Meanwhile, Yoon also has a younger brother, but he's one of the failures. He takes advantage of her being asleep and tries to steal her study notes, but she's already onto him. She's set a trap and is waiting for him. She catches him and says, "You little thief, we might be siblings, but business is business." She takes back the notes and smacks him on the head. They all head out to school. We learn that all the students are actually neighbors and live in the same residential compound called Al-Mazar compound. But as we know, they can't stand each other. Each class wants to beat the other. When they get to school, they're hit with shocking news. Their homeroom teacher tells them that recently there have been many conflicts between the two classes. So the school has decided to merge the two classes to plant love and harmony between them. The students react in horror. Everyone is against the idea. Even the nerds think the failures are beneath them. Yoon tries to object, but the teacher says, "This is the principal's decision. Neither you nor I can change it." On the other side, Leo and his friends aren't happy about the decision either. They hate studying. Instead of making peace with the nerdy students, they all unite to start messing with them. They begin pulling pranks, like putting firecrackers in the juice the nerds are about to drink. When they open the bottles, they explode in their faces. The nerds get furious and decide to take revenge. One of them takes advantage of Leo and his friends while they're in the shower. He sneaks in and steals their clothes. When Leo and his friends come out of the bathroom feeling refreshed and happy, they're shocked to find their clothes gone. They spot the culprits and run after them, chasing them all around the schoolyard while everyone laughs at the ridiculous scene. Just imagine, God help us. The principal sees them like that and goes off on them, warning that if they cause trouble again, they'll regret it. They respond innocently, "Sir, come on, we're not like that. That wasn't trouble. It was just a misunderstanding. We promise it won't happen again." The principal leaves, and of course, they immediately start thinking of a new plan to get revenge. This time, targeting the nerdy student specifically. They decide to put glue on his chair so when he sits, he won't be able to get up. But of course, they send the dumbest and most useless student to do the job, and he messes it up. He puts glue on the wrong chair, and whose chair is it? Our cute girl Yoon's. God help you, you idiot. They all wait around to laugh at the prank, but are shocked when it's Yoon who falls for it. She tries to get up and feels something stuck. Embarrassed, she says, "Guys, I'm stuck. Can someone help me?" She's clearly humiliated and has to go change her clothes, making her late for class. Leo feels guilty about what happened and decides to apologize. He waits for her outside the classroom and says, "I'm sorry." He expected her to act all cute and shy, but nope. She looks at him with cold eyes and makes it clear that if he tries anything again, she'll break his face. She leaves and Leo is left standing there, stunned. He starts thinking, she's beautiful, but also strong, and I like that. That's exactly my type. The next day, Leo and his friends transfer to the nerds class, but nobody there likes them. A fight is about to break out. But the teacher enters just in time and asks all the students to leave the room so she can talk to Leo and his friends privately. The teacher starts explaining the classroom rules and insists on separating them, making sure Leo and his friends sit far from each other so they can focus during lessons. The next day they go back to school, but they completely forget about studying and go back to their usual ways, goofing around in class as if nothing changed. Suddenly the teacher walks in on them and they quickly hide their phones. All the nerdy students are focused on the lesson, but our boy Leo is totally lost. He's like, "What do I do now? Wait, is that Yoon sitting in front of me? Let me annoy her a bit." He starts poking his friend and complaining he's bored. Then he decides to take a nap, but still tries to act smart. He puts on sunglasses thinking the teacher won't notice him sleeping. But of course, she notices. She walks up to him and smacks him on the back of the head to wake him up, warning that if he does it again, he'll fail the exam. Leo's like, "Come on, miss, I'm just wearing sunglasses because of the sun." She replies, "The sun? Sure, then don't wear them again." Class ends and Leo decides to go talk to Yoon. He tries to make peace with her, knowing she's the class president, a powerful connection in school politics. As the saying goes, if you want something from a dog, call it sir. You get the idea. But Yoon still can't stand him. She's cold and ignores him. He tries to get closer, hoping his good looks will impress her, but she's still mad about the prank he pulled on her. She walks away, and her hair accidentally brushes against his face. And in that moment, Leo feels something. His heart skips a beat. That's it, he thinks. That's the hair I've been waiting for. That's the girl I want. As he watches her leave, he realizes he's officially fallen for her. Meanwhile, another girl approaches one of the nerdy students. She likes him and decides to confess her feelings. "I want to tell you something," she says, but then trips and nearly falls. Thankfully, he catches her just in time. She smiles, thinking he must like her too. But he's cold with her. He refuses to study with her and walks away, all because he has a crush on Yoon as well and doesn't want any other girl to like him. Back to Leo's friends. They're bored and sitting around watching the Movies Room channel, laughing at a clown character on screen. But one of the girls in the class, the one known as the clown, thinks they're laughing at her. She gets angry and throws their athletic shoes in the trash. The boys are about to go off on her, but Leo shows up just in time and stops them. Yoon steps in and asks the clown girl to apologize. She obeys, since Yoon is the class president and people listen to her. One of the nerdy students notices what happened and realizes how important the shoes are to Leo's group. So when the break starts, he sneaks off, takes the shoes from the trash, and hides them. Later, Leo and his friends return, and here comes the surprise. Their shoes are missing. They get angry and almost start a fight with the nerdy students, but they remember that if they cause trouble again, they'll get expelled. So, they start searching for the shoes everywhere. Yoon, being the class president, feels responsible and decides to help them. She joins the search and eventually she succeeds, finding the shoes in a box. She brings them back to the boys, who are overjoyed and thank her. Leo and his friends explain that the shoes aren't just any shoes. They're really important to them. They've worn them in many sports competitions, and each of them has great memories tied to them. The shoes are like good luck charms. Plus, some of them were gifts from people they really care about. That's why they mean so much. The nerdy students are moved by what Leo says. They realize they misjudged them and apologize sincerely. After school, Leo goes out with his friends for dinner. But on the way, he spots Yoon walking with a guy. He doesn't know that's her younger brother, so he assumes she's dating him. Jealousy hits, but he tries to deny it to himself, saying, "It's not my business what she does." The next day at school, Leo sees the same guy, Yoon's brother, talking to another girl. He's shocked and assumes the guy's just playing around with girls. When he gets to class, he approaches Yoon, wanting to warn her, but he holds back, not wanting to hurt her feelings. Instead, his jealousy gets the best of him and he blurts out, "You really have terrible taste in guys." Everyone's confused, including Yoon, who's like, what's his problem? Later during gym class, Yoon is doing her workouts, and one of the nerdy students comes over to help her. Leo sees this and gets jealous again, thinking this guy is also trying to hit on her. He storms over and pushes the guy away, trying to get Yoon's attention. Yoon is confused by his behavior, but suddenly, she starts feeling dizzy. She faints on the spot. Leo panics and rushes her to the hospital. He stays by her side until she wakes up. He takes care of her, brings her a warm drink to help her calm down, and gently places a medical patch on the small wound on her hand. Yoon is surprised by how kind and gentle he's being, and Leo is just about ready to tell her the truth. He tells her, "That guy you're dating, he's cheating on you with another girl." He tries to comfort her, saying, "Don't be upset, he's not even good looking. You deserve better. Someone cute, charming, athletic. And if you look around this room, I think you'll find him." Of course, he means himself. Yoon laughs at the joke. She can't help but giggle. But just then, her cheating boyfriend walks in to check on her. That's when she reveals, "That's not my boyfriend, that's my brother." Leo is stunned. He just accused her brother of playing around? Oops. He quickly shifts gears, hugs the brother, and says, "Wow, what a guy, respect. You're a true gentleman." Later, Leo puts Yoon's shoes on for her and walks her back to class. On the way, he chats with her and asks if she can give him her number. Yoon, surprised by his sudden attention, refuses and walks off to her seat. Leo then overhears her talking to the nerdy student. Let's call him Rami. He eavesdrops and hears them planning to study together after school. Jealousy kicks in again. Later, Leo is playing sports with his friends, but he feels tired and sits to rest. Suddenly, a nerdy girl shows up and asks for his friend's number. He's shocked and asks, "Wait, what? How?" His friend starts giving him advice like a love guru. "Bro, if you want girls to be into you, it's easy. Just find something you have in common. See what she likes, then do the same." Leo gets discouraged. He doesn't even know what Yoon likes. What now? His friend wants to help, so he suggests a bold move. Leo goes to the clown girl, the one with a loud personality, and pretends he's into her. He asks her out after school. She's thrilled and immediately says yes. At the restaurant, Leo takes advantage of the opportunity and starts subtly questioning the clown girl to get information about Yoon. The girl naively tells him everything from A to Z, what Yoon likes, what she hates, and even that she's been searching for a particular book. Of course, Leo is secretly recording everything on his phone. As soon as the meeting ends, he heads straight to the bookstore to find the book Yoon wants. He warns the store owner not to sell the book to anyone else. The man, intimidated by Leo's tone, agrees and hides the book. The next day, Yoon visits the bookstore with her nerdy classmate and asks about the book. The store owner tells her it's sold out, and she gets really upset because she needed it badly. Suddenly, Leo walks in, confidently holding the book, and offers it to her. He expects her to be impressed and thank him, but Yoon looks at him coldly and refuses to take it. Her classmate says, "I know another bookstore that has it. Let's go." And they leave together. Leo stands there, shocked and heartbroken, feeling like all his effort was wasted, but he decides not to give up. There's still another chance. The following day, the teacher announces that every nerdy student will be paired with a struggling one for a tutoring project. Yoon is surprised to find out she's been paired with Leo himself. In the lab, she begins explaining the experiment step by step, but Leo doesn't understand a thing. It's like she's speaking a foreign language. She gets frustrated and says, "Don't you get it? If we keep this up, the whole experiment will fail." Still, she gives him a second chance and takes him to the storage room to get the tools. Leo tries to act cool and says, "Don't worry, I'll protect you." But once they enter the dark storage room, he's the first to get scared. In a shaky voice, he says, "Can you stay close? This place is terrifying." Suddenly, a ghostly figure appears in front of them. Leo screams from the bottom of his heart, "Oh no, a ghost, we're gonna die!" But as the ghost comes closer, he realizes it's just the clown girl in a costume. Part of a prank planned to scare him. He gets annoyed and starts arguing, but then calms down and returns to the lab, determined to finish the experiment. Yoon sees that despite everything, he's persistent, and she starts to genuinely help him. After a while, he finally succeeds in completing the experiment. She gives him her number just in case he ever needs anything. He gets excited, quickly saves the number before he forgets, and spends the whole night waiting for her to message him. And indeed, the one who made his wish come true, she sends him a message. He's thrilled, but pretends to play it cool, not replying to seem aloof. He goes out to have dinner with his family, but suddenly, surprise. "What are you doing here, man?" The top student, the nerdy guy, is sitting and eating with them because his family is traveling and he's alone. He gets irritated and shows him the message that she sent him. The nerd feels jealous, leaves the meal, and walks out. Meanwhile, we see Yoon holding a picture of herself as a child with a childhood friend. We learn that this child disappeared, and she feels like she misses him but doesn't know who he is now that he's grown up. The next day at school, a committee from the ministry arrives to check that there are no issues among students after the two classes were merged. The principal scolds them, saying, "Shame on you, how can there be problems when I'm around? These kids are like angels, everything is going great." He takes them to the lab to prove that the students are learning well. Meanwhile, the students are doing a science experiment, and our main characters are grouped together just like yesterday. Yoon begins explaining the experiment, but Leo messes something up. As a result, a fire breaks out in the lab. Students panic and try to escape. Since Leo's friends are athletes, they decide to help the other students. Whenever they see someone, they carry them on their backs and rush out. They manage to get everyone out in time, but Leo realizes Yoon is still inside. He gets worried, decides to risk his life, goes back into the lab and finds her on the floor, scared. He runs to her to check on her, picks her up, and carries her out at the last moment before the fire reaches her. Yoon is deeply moved by what he did, but she notices that his legs are injured. She takes him to the clinic to make sure he's okay and disinfects the wound herself. Leo apologizes for being the reason behind the fire, but she tells him she knows he didn't mean it and thanks him for saving her. He's happy with her words and her concern, but he asks why she was sitting on the floor, scared, and didn't leave with the others. Yoon starts to feel nervous and confesses that She has a phobia of fire. When she was little, her house caught fire and she nearly died. Her childhood friend saved her just in time. Since then, she's been terrified of fires. Suddenly, the top student, the nerdy one, walks in and feels jealous of their closeness. He wishes he had been the one to save her. Just then, the principal enters, saying, "Didn't I tell you? Angels sent from heaven?" He's worried the ministry might punish him, but they explain that what happened in the lab was an accident, and the most important thing is the safety of the students. What happened today is proof of that. The students work together as one, helping each other escape. The principal is happy with what he hears and thanks them. He goes to the classroom to check on the students. Yoon apologizes to Hyun and tries to take responsibility because she's class president and should have checked the equipment. But Leo admits that the mistake was his. The principal is proud of both of them because they forgot their differences and helped each other during the fire. He asks them to always stay united like they were today. And as a reward, he invites all the students to lunch. The students cheer at his words and keep clapping. "Now this is a principal," they say. They all head to the restaurant to have lunch together. Leo notices that Yoon is struggling to walk because her leg hurts. After school, he brings her a bag with a gift and asks her to rest so her leg can heal. Yoon is surprised by Leo's kindness and thanks him. When she gets home and opens the bag, she finds a surprise, a new skirt to replace the one that got torn because of him, along with a discount card from the bookstore so she can buy the books she wants. She's touched by his thoughtfulness and how he notices every little detail. It's clear that he knows what she likes, and it's starting to show that her heart might be starting to beat for him too. The next day, she goes to the mall to buy him a gift in return, to thank him. When she gets to class, she notices he's starting to care more about his studies. He really did all this to get closer to her and understand how she thinks. He asks her to help him study, and she agrees, sitting with him to explain the lessons. But of course, he's not really focusing. He just keeps staring at her, mesmerized by her beauty. And just like that, he falls for her hard. No reason, no logic, just love. That night, a cunning girl approached Yoon and asked her if she could borrow the discount card to use it. Yoon hesitates but ends up agreeing and tells her to be careful and return it once she's done. The next day at school, Yoon goes to get the card back, but the girl pretends to look for it and says, "Huh? Looks like I lost it. Maybe I threw it in the trash without realizing." Yoon is upset because the card meant a lot to her. She rolls up her sleeves and decides to go search for it in the trash. The top student sees her and goes to help her, but Leo sees them together and feels jealous. He tells Yoon to stop looking and says he'll get her another one. He grabs her hand and pulls her away, walking off with her while the top student keeps searching. Eventually, he finds the card and realizes that the cunning girl intentionally threw it away because she was jealous of Yoon. He goes to confront her about what she did. She tells him, "Who am I? Honestly, I did that because I like you, but all you ever think about is Yoon." He's shocked by what she says. He realizes he's more focused on his studies, and if he let this kind of thing happen again, he'd regret it. He has to head home because it's gotten late, and when he arrives, he finds that his parents have returned from their trip. They greet him warmly and ask how he's been doing in school. They remind him to study hard so he can be top of the class and get into a good university, but he feels upset. They only seem to care about his grades and how they look in front of others. That's all they think about. He walks away and goes to his room. At that moment, he envies Leo, because even though Leo isn't good at school, his family loves him and cares for him deeply. The next day at school, he gives the discount card back to Yoon. She's thrilled and can't believe he actually found it. She gives him her juice to thank him. Suddenly, Leo walks in and sees them together. He gets jealous and sits behind her, pulling on her chair to annoy her. Then, out of nowhere, the principal enters the classroom and announces that there will be a race between their class and another. 10 students will be chosen to compete. He encourages all the students to give it their best and win. Later, during recess, Leo and his friends head to the cafeteria to eat. A bully student spots them and starts mocking them. Because they ended up in the nerds class, Leo and his friends feel like they're being mocked. Leo gets frustrated and angry, and in a moment of pride, he makes a bet. Whoever wins the race, the loser must do whatever the winner says. Soon after, tryouts begin to pick the fastest students in the class, who will compete in the race. Unsurprisingly, Leo and his 3 friends turn out to be the fastest 4. Everyone is amazed by their performance, especially Leo's. But to maintain balance, 4 other students from the nerdy group also have to be selected to join the team. The next day, the race begins. All the students gather to cheer on their classmates and everyone is excited. But then they realize the sly girl is late. She was supposed to be on Leo's team. It turns out she isn't coming. They suspect she bailed on purpose. Yoon decides to step in and take her place to save the situation. Leo objects because of her leg injury, but she insists. It's her duty as class president. He reluctantly agrees and tells her, "Run at your own pace. I promise I'll make up for any lost time." The race begins. It's a relay, where each student passes the baton to the next. Leo's friends dominate the early legs of the race, easily outpacing their opponents. They're athletic and have experience in competitions. When it's Yoon's turn, she runs fast and even gets ahead of the rival team. But the pain from her injury starts to catch up with her. She pushes through the pain and manages to reach Leo, passing him the baton, then collapses to the ground. Leo is worried and runs to her, picking her up in his arms, but that causes a delay. She reassures him that she's okay and begs him to continue. "Don't let my effort go to waste." He listens, gets back on the track and sprints with everything he's got. It's like a flash. He's unbelievably fast. Even though he was behind, he starts catching up, amazing everyone with his determination. The crowd goes wild, cheering, "Leo! Leo!" He gets closer and closer, about to overtake the bully student from the rival class. Unfortunately, Leo crosses the finish line just 1 second behind. He comes in second place. Even though he lost, he feels disappointed, but he earns the respect of all the students. Everyone acknowledges his talent and says he's the real winner. Afterward, Yoon goes to the clinic to get her leg checked, and surprise, she finds the sly girl there. They thought she was hiding. They ask why she didn't show up to the race. She apologizes, saying she wasn't feeling well. Yoon realizes she misjudged her and forgives her, but the sly girl feels guilty because Yoon had to race with an injury in her place. When they return to class, the sly girl decides to apologize to everyone for causing them to lose. She breaks down crying, and Leo feels bad for her. He comforts her and tells her, "We're a team, we'll make it up next time." That night, photos of the group together spread on the school app. Everyone starts saying how good Leo and Yoon look together. Yoon feels embarrassed and asks the person who posted it to take it down, but Leo is thrilled. He jumps around on his bed, so happy he nearly breaks it. The next day at school, Leo has to keep his end of the bet. He lost, after all. The bully forces him to wear ridiculous clothes as a punishment, and he makes fun of him with his friends, filming it on their phones. But Leo's friends don't abandon him. They decide to wear the same outfit to support him, saying, "Let's take a photo, together through the good and the bad." Everyone is impressed by what they did. It shows they're real friends. Then the teacher arrives and tells them to change back into proper clothes. But before that, the bully asks Leo to serve him his lunch. Leo agrees, since he lost the bet. The nerdy students feel guilty because they think it's their fault Leo lost, so they decide to stand with him. They bring their own food and go sit beside him. It becomes clear that they're all united, one team. Leo is touched by what they did. He thanks them for standing by him. The bully is shocked by their reaction. He thought he had won, but his plan backfired completely. After school, Yoon is surprised to find that Leo is waiting for her. He offers to walk her home, and she's happy and agrees to go with him. But instead of heading home, he takes her to a restaurant and even honks the car horn to get her attention. He orders her favorite food. She's touched by how thoughtful he is and keeps looking at him sweetly. Then she suddenly remembers they have an exam tomorrow. She tells him, "This isn't the right time, let's go study." He replies, "Come on, don't be like that. I'm a very genius." She laughs and says, "No, you're stupid." He asks, "What does that mean?" She teases, "It means strawberry, strawberry." The next day, the exam begins and Leo is completely lost. He didn't study. He randomly bubbles and answers, saying, B, C. This one looks nice. That one looks good too. When the results come out, Yoon teases him because he got the lowest score. He feels embarrassed and ashamed. He didn't want to look like a failure in front of her. She used to call me Strawberry as a joke, but now what would she think of me? His friend tries to cheer him up and tells him he can do better next time. He even gives Leo his corrected exam paper so he can learn from his mistakes. Leo thanks him. When he returns home, his mom sees the paper and thinks it's his. She's thrilled and says, "Wow, that's my boy, my perfect son." She almost throws a party in celebration. Leo hesitates, then says, "Wait, Mom, I don't want to ruin your joy, but that's not my paper." She looks at his real exam paper and sees the terrible grade. Her mood shifts completely. "I can't believe I raised such a disgrace. I wish I'd never given birth to you." Her harsh words crush him. The next day, his friends decide to help, but instead of encouraging him to study, they plan how to help him cheat in the next test. "This is how we do it," one says. "Like the old saying, don't give me the answer, teach me how to cheat." They start working on cheat sheets and strategies. Suddenly, Yoon walks in on them. She catches everything and threatens to report them. After all, she's class president. Leo panics and says, No, I was just joking. Cheat me? Never, you're accusing me unfairly." He hands over the cheat sheet and insists, "This isn't even mine, it's that guy's over there. I just want to pass, that's all. I just want to make my poor mom happy." Yoon is touched by his words. She decides to help him properly instead. She spends the whole day gathering summaries and review notes to help him study before the exam. That night, she calls him and tells him to come pick them up. But at that moment, Leo is with his friends playing sports. They decide to jump over the club's fence to sneak in and watch the national sprint team's training. Because of that, Leo ends up being late and doesn't reply to Yoon's messages. She gets really angry and regrets ever trying to help him. Later, Leo remembers the time they had agreed to meet and runs to find her. But when he arrives and tries to talk to her, she's already upset and refuses to speak to him. He's hurt by her reaction and decides to study alone. Time passes and most of the students leave, but Leo refuses to go home. He keeps studying in the classroom. The next morning, Yoon arrives at school early and is shocked to find that he's been studying there since the night before. She realizes he's taking things seriously now. Leo seizes the opportunity to apologize and tries to make up with her. He explains that he didn't mean to hurt her and promises he won't do it again. Yoon believes him and forgives him. She sits with him to study and helps him understand the lessons. They go over all the subjects he was struggling with before the exams. The top student, the nerd, and her funny friend decide to help too. They prepare summaries and review notes for them to study from. Leo and his friends are deeply moved by their support and become even more motivated. They spend their days training and studying hard. Their academic levels actually improve, and they feel ready for the exams. Leo starts to believe that he's finally going to succeed. The next day, Leo approaches Yoon and invites her to dinner to thank her for all her help. But she turns him down, telling him she already made plans with the top student to study together at the library. Leo is disappointed but tries not to show it. That night, he goes out with his friends, but they can tell he's not acting like himself. They ask him what's wrong, but he doesn't want to talk about it. The next day at school, Yoon tries to speak with him and offers to study together again, but he coldly ignores her and tells her he doesn't need her help. Yoon is shocked by how he's acting and feels that something has changed. Later they have gym class, but the coach is absent. The class decides Leo should lead the session since he's the best athlete, but he starts showing off and pushing the class with tough exercises, especially in front of Yoon. The top student tries to defend Yoon, but Leo insists on making them do even harder workouts. This upsets Yoon even more. When he tries to talk to her, she refuses to respond and walks away. Then, one of Leo's friends tells him that he managed to get the exam answers and that if they study them, they'll pass. But Leo refuses to cheat and decides to rely on himself and succeed through his own efforts. He doesn't even look at the answers and deletes them. Finally, the exam day arrives. This time he focuses, trying to remember what he studied, and he manages to answer all the questions. After the exam, Yoon comes to review with him and starts showing off, saying that studying worked. He's happy, so he goes out with his friends to celebrate, but the bully sees them and mocks them, saying they'll fail. Leo doesn't care about his words. At school, he waits for Yoon and tells her he wants to thank her because she helped him study. He asks her to come with him. When she asks where they're going, he tells her to just come. He takes her to the amusement park and they start trying all the games there. Then he buys her the ice cream she loves. They spend a lovely time together and she feels happy. They grow closer, After that, they have lunch together. Yun thanks him for the beautiful day because she hadn't been to the amusement park since she was a child. He's happy with what she says, and it's clear they like each other, but neither has the courage to confess. The next day at school, the exam results come out. He and his friends go to check their grades and are surprised to find that they passed and even got the highest marks. They're overjoyed and can't believe it. But then someone stops them and tells them the principal wants to see them in his office. They're confused and think maybe he wants to congratulate them. But when they go, they're accused of cheating. They try to defend themselves, saying they studied hard, but the principal doesn't believe them, thinking they're failures and it's impossible for them to get those scores without cheating. Suddenly, Yun walks in and finds out what's happening. She doesn't believe the accusations and tells the principal that she trusts them and is sure they studied and are being treated unfairly. She asks him to give her a chance to prove their innocence. Still, they feel hurt that the principal even doubted them in the first place. They feel discouraged, thinking this place isn't for them, and that no matter how hard they try, they're still seen as failures. They decide to leave the class, but their teacher finds out what happened and goes to talk to them. She tells them she believes in them and could tell they solved the exam on their own. She asks them not to care about the principal's words and to return to class. They're happy with what she says and thank her. They decide to go back with her, feeling confident in themselves. But they notice that the other students are watching them and talking behind their backs. They're confused by what's happening. When they enter the class, they find the bully student finds out what happened and tells the other students to kick them out of the class. Leo is shocked. Yun tells him she had nothing to do with it, but he doesn't believe her and leaves the classroom. After that, the news spreads through the school app, and everyone finds out they're accused of cheating. People keep talking about them and want them expelled from school. Leo and his friends are upset because no one believes them. They isolate themselves in the sports room. That night, Yun keeps sending Leo messages, but he doesn't reply. The next day, she goes to the sports field to talk to him. She tells him she never said anything bad about him and that she believes in him and knows he's not a cheater. Her words make him happy, and they make up. She promises to help prove his innocence. When she returns to the classroom, the top student, the nerd, is waiting for her. He tells her he wants to help, and they decide to work together. They go to the computer room and use their intelligence to recover the deleted messages. When they check the recovered messages, they're shocked to find the answers were actually wrong, meaning if Leo and his friends had cheated using them, they would have failed. They print the answers, put them in an envelope, and leave them on the principal's desk to prove the truth. Later, Leo and his friends are on the field again when the bully continues provoking them, trying to start a fight. Yun steps in and defends them, saying, "Are you jealous or what? Because they're better than you and more talented. They're not like you." At that moment, the principal opens the envelope and sees the evidence. He realizes the mistake he made and feels guilty. He goes to the school speakers and announces that he is now sure Leo and his friends passed the exam through their own efforts and apologizes for doubting them. The students react positively, and everyone is happy that the truth is finally out. Leo goes to thank Yun for what she did, and they laugh when they find out that the bully was actually the one who sent the wrong answers because he wanted them to fail. The principal decides to launch an investigation into him. Afterward, Leo talks to Yun. She's happy with what he said and tells him that now he can make his family proud with his exam results. She also tells him that the top student helped her, so if he wants to thank someone, he should thank him too. Leo is surprised by this and decides to thank him as well. When he gets home, he goes to the top student's house, knocks on the door, and asks to talk to him. He thanks him for helping prove his innocence and invites him to dinner as a way to return the favor. Then he leaves. Later, he goes to his room and sends a message to Yun, telling her that he'll be playing basketball tomorrow and asking if she'll come watch and cheer for him. She agrees. The next day, she comes to watch the game. With his crush watching, Leo gives it his all, showing off his skills, dodging left and right and scoring lots of points. Everyone is impressed with his talent. After the game, Yun comes up to him and he asks, "So, what did you think of my performance?" She replies honestly, "I wish I could be like you. My whole life is just studying and studying." He starts giving her advice, and Yun succeeds in following it. She scores a lot of points too. They have a great time together and are both happy. Later, as they're walking together, they see a crowd of girls waiting on the street. They find out the girls are waiting for someone. Suddenly, a car pulls up and a handsome young man gets out. It turns out he's also a famous guy who had been living in America, but our main characters aren't interested. They keep walking and continue on their way. Leo walks Yoon home to make sure she gets there safely. She thanks him for spending the day with her, says goodbye, and heads to her room. She tries to study, but she ends up falling asleep from exhaustion. She starts dreaming about memories from her childhood. A birthday where she was celebrating with her childhood friend. He gave her a necklace shaped like a whistle, and he had one just like it. He told her to use it if she was ever in danger, and he would come save her. Then, in the dream, a candle fell and caused a big fire. She got scared and started blowing the whistle, calling for help. And the person she had been waiting for came and rescued her just in time. Yoon wakes up from the dream startled, clutching the necklace and thinking about her childhood friend whom she doesn't know anything about anymore. She wishes she could see him again. The next day in class, their teacher enters and announces that a new student will be joining them. Yes, dear viewer, it's the famous idol. All the girls are amazed by his good looks. Everyone welcomes him, but he ignores them and walks straight to Yoon to say hello. Everyone is surprised that he knows her, but she doesn't care much and focuses on the lesson. After class, the girls rush to take pictures with him, but he leaves them and follows Yoon, calling her name. She's surprised. How does he know her name? Suddenly, a crowd of schoolgirls shows up, chasing after him to take pictures. The idol panics and grabs Yoon's hand, running away with her. He manages to hide with her in the library. He puts his hand over her mouth to keep her quiet, and their eyes meet. She feels awkward and embarrassed. Who even are you, and why are you doing all this? She pushes him away and asks what he wants. He replies, "Do you seriously not remember the memories and all the things we did together as kids?" She's shocked. Wait, well, what? No way. Yes, exactly like you just said. I'm your childhood friend, the one who saved your life. She reacts and says, "Wow, I've missed you, you legend." She can't believe her chubby childhood friend has become a handsome, famous idol. But then he shows her the whistle-shaped necklace he still has, all to prove that he's really her childhood friend. When she sees it, she's shocked and realizes it really is him. She replies, "Oh, I didn't tell you? He's my childhood friend that I've been looking for." Then she walks back into class, leaving Leo surprised and confused. Leo tells himself, "Have confidence, even if he's an idol, you're a talented athlete." He goes to talk to the class clown girl, hoping she'll cheer him up, but instead he finds her trying to take a photo with the idol too. He says, "Wait, you like him too?" She answers, "Like him? I love him. I want to marry him." Leo gets upset and walks away from her. He goes back to talk to his friend, saying, "You were right. The idol's got every girl wrapped around his finger. My advice? Find a new crush. It's probably better if she never sees him, because once she does, she'll fall for him too." They try to act like they don't care and head to the cafeteria to eat. While there, they see the idol eating with Yoon and her friend. Leo feels another wave of jealousy and frustration. He wants to fight the guy. He storms off to the basketball court to blow off some steam. The top student comes to talk to him too, and they both agree that the idol is a serious threat to all of them. They start planning together to find a way to keep him away from their girl. At that moment, the competition becomes one-on-one, my friend. 1 versus 1. Leo is convinced by what he hears and agrees. He goes to the principal and tattles on the idol, revealing that he's not wearing the school uniform. The principal gets angry and storms into the classroom, scolding him in front of all the students. Leo is happy because their plan succeeded. Then he takes the idol to the sports field to play with them, but he's already made an agreement with everyone. They're all supposed to go hard on the idol. Leo celebrates among them, happy that they've managed to push the idol away from Yoon at school. But he's scared the idol might go to her house, and what they feared actually happens. The idol goes to visit her at home. She acts smart and happy, and she flirts with him a little. She even invites him to have lunch with them. They all sit and eat together. After lunch, Yoon walks him out, and he asks her to help him study because he doesn't have time due to acting. She agrees, of course. This is the guy who saved her life when they were kids. The next day, she goes to school and asks Leo and his friends for help. Leo refuses at first because he feels jealous of the idol, but the nerd tells him, "Shut up! If we say no, the idol will have her all to himself. That can't happen." Leo replies, "You know what? You're right. I'm in. You know me. I love doing good and letting it float away in the water." That night, Leo sits and thinks about how to use this chance to get Yoon's attention and make her forget about the idol. An idea hits him. He calls her brother and asks what she'll wear tomorrow so he can wear something similar. Her brother refuses, saying, "She's my sister. No way I spy on her for you." Leo bribes him with food, and he finally agrees, telling him she'll wear green. Leo's overjoyed and starts digging through his clothes until he finds something in a similar color. The next day, he waits for the idol to come over to his house at the agreed time to study. He thinks she'll come alone. Silly guy thinks he'll get to be with her by himself. Poor thing, he's in for a surprise. Leo and the nerd, Dahi, also join her, so they all study together. But our guys keep annoying her, not giving the idol a chance to talk to her. The idol has no choice but to endure it because he needs their help. Days go by like this. They keep coming over every day. They even make him train and play sports to prepare for the acting role he's doing. Yoon starts noticing their strange behavior, but she's completely unaware of the war going on between the three boys. Eventually, the exam day arrives, and all of them manage to do well. The idol is happy he got a good grade, so he thanks Yoon and invites her to come over to his place at the end of the week to celebrate. But Leo and the nerd overhear this and decide to go with her so they can stick around him the whole time, and that's exactly what they do. The three of them hang out playing PlayStation, leaving Yoon to study on her own. They order pizza, and when Yoon eats some, her stomach starts to hurt. She realizes the pizza has gone bad. She rushes to warn them, but it's too late. The idol has already eaten some and starts feeling sick and dizzy. Our guys are forced to help. Leo runs to Yoon and carries her, rushing her to the hospital. The nerd takes the idol in a car because he's famous, and they can't risk anyone seeing him like that. Leo stays by Yoon's side until she wakes up. Luckily, it turns out to be something simple, and the doctor assures them that she'll be okay. But our guy is a bit too romantic. He tells her, "If you need anything, just tell me. I'll donate blood if I have to, and from now on, I'll taste all your food first so you don't get sick again." Yoon is touched by his words and thanks him for saving her. Later, the idol's manager shows up to check on him. She gets angry because she thinks Leo and the others are the reason he got sick. She tells him to stay away from them, but he refuses. "This is the first time I feel like I have real friends. Friends who care about me, not because I'm famous." She's moved by what he says, tells him to rest, and then goes to talk to the others. She thanks them for saving his life, but tells them that they're distracting him and that it's affecting his career. After all, he's an idol. He needs to focus on acting and music lessons. They understand and promise not to waste his time again. Then they go in to check on him. He's happy to see them, but they tell him he should listen to his manager. She cares about him and wants what's best for him. Yoon leaves the room to go change clothes, but when she comes back, she catches them pretending to joke around, even though they were actually arguing. In reality, they were competing over her. Each one of them wants to win her heart. They all leave the hospital and head home. The nerd, Dahi, finds out that his mom has come back, and she scolds him for neglecting his studies. Leo's mom tries to help him. She tells him to focus on his studies so he can become a lawyer like his father. But he gets upset because he doesn't care about that. He wants to study what he loves. He leaves the room and goes into his bedroom, clearly frustrated. The next day in class, the school counselor comes in and hands out college preference forms to all the students, asking them to choose which university they want to attend. The students start filling them out, excited about what they want to study. But the idol is absent. He's still recovering. So our main trio go visit him at home and give him the form. He thanks them and tells them he plans to study music. They also find out he's taking some time off school to focus on training. The next day, the counselor is in her office reviewing the students' forms. She's surprised when she sees the choices made by Leo and the nerd. She calls the nerd in for a talk. She asks him, "Are you sure about what you wrote? Your parents want you to be a lawyer." He tells her he's decided to study programming because he loves it and won't change his mind no matter what happens. At the same time, the track coach sits down with Leo to talk about the same topic. He's surprised. He thought Leo wanted to go to a sports university because he's talented at running, but Leo tells him he's changed his mind. He's planning to apply to a different university, the same one Yoon wants to go to. He tells the coach, "I know it's a tough university to get into, and it needs high grades, but I'm going to study hard to get there." Afterward, he heads to the sports field to talk to his friends and let them know about his decision and which university he's planning to apply to. But they're shocked by what he says, because they had all agreed to join the sports university together and chase their shared dream. His best friend gets upset because he had promised they'd stick together no matter what, and now it feels like he's been betrayed. Without saying much more, his friend gets up and walks away, leaving him sitting there feeling guilty and torn because of the words he just heard. He doesn't know what to do, confused and full of regret. So he returns to class with a heavy heart. Yoon is surprised to see him coming back alone without his friends. Yoon sits with Leo to help him study and explain the lessons he doesn't understand. But she notices that something's off. He doesn't seem like himself. She senses that something is bothering him. So she suggests they go out together to lift his spirits. And, of course, he agrees. After school, he takes her to the usual restaurant where he and his friends used to hang out. But there's a surprise waiting. His friends are already there, sitting without him. He tries to talk to them, but his best friend is still upset and doesn't respond. Yoon notices what's going on and asks Leo what happened. He opens up and tells her everything. Then we see a flashback from 3 years ago. Leo was about to participate in a running competition when his shoes tore just before the race. He was about to give up, but his best friend refused to let that happen and gave him his own shoes. He believed in Leo and in his talent, and he asked Leo to win the race for both of them. Leo was deeply moved by what his friend did and promised to run his fastest. He kept that promise and won first place. After the race, he decided to give the medal to his friend because he believed the real reason for his victory was his friend's support. From that day on, they became very close and made a pact to enter the sports university together and chase their dream. Back to the present, Leo finishes telling his story. Yoon is moved by what she heard and encourages him not to give up. She keeps pushing him to make things right until he agrees to try and fix things with his friend. That night, when he gets home, Leo keeps sending his friend messages, trying to explain his point of view. Meanwhile, the nerd, Dahi, returns home, only to find his mom waiting for him. She surprises him by saying she found his programming books and she wants to throw them away. Like many Egyptian moms, and maybe some others around the world, she says, "I know what's best for you. Listen to me. Become a lawyer like your father so you can work with him. Trust me, if you go into programming, you'll get stuck between companies and no one will want to hire you." The nerd is hurt by her words and goes to his room, upset that he can't study what he loves. The next day, on his way to school, Leo pulls him aside and brings him into his room. He shows him the programming books his mom had thrown out. Leo had saved them. He tells the nerd he can come study at his house in secret so he can still follow his dream. The nerd is overjoyed and thanks him for what he did. He promises to do just that. Later, Leo talks to his friend again and reassures him that they'll still be best friends even if they end up at different universities. His friend is moved by his words and apologizes for being upset. They head to the library together to study with the rest of the group. Then the idol returns from his break and they all welcome him back warmly. They all sit together to study, and at the end of the day, when they finish, Leo seizes the opportunity and offers to take Yoon home on his bicycle. But he finds the nerd and the idol already waiting. They also want to walk her home. Yoon, fed up with the competition, decides to leave them all and walks off with her brother instead. Meanwhile, the nerd's mom enters his room and starts going through his things. She finds the college preference form and explodes when she sees that someone forged her signature so he could apply to study programming. When he comes home, she confronts him angrily and blames Leo for influencing him. She demands he cut ties with Leo, but he refuses and insists, "I have the right to choose my friends and to study what I love." Then he storms out of the house and leaves. He ends up going to the idol's place and spends the night there. The next day at school, his friends notice that he's different. He's not acting like himself. Distracted in class and during break time, he eats alone. They eventually find out that he's entered a programming competition and he's scared he won't make it. He's afraid that if he fails, his dream will be crushed. So they decide to support him and help him through it. But just then, a shocking twist. His mother shows up at the school. She wants to transfer him to another school to keep him away from his friends and force him to focus only on his studies. The idol and the others try to stop the nerd from participating in the competition, but Leo takes the chance and gives the nerd a ride on his bike to get him there in time. Meanwhile, the nerd's mother is still determined to transfer him to another school no matter what. But Yoon tries to convince her not to. She tells her that her son is talented in programming and believes in his dream. Yoon then takes the mother to the competition so she can see it for herself. At the competition, the nerd is focused and doing well, but when he spots his mom in the crowd, he gets nervous and starts to lose his confidence. He remembers her words, that he needs to give up on his dream and become a lawyer, and he begins to lose hope. But his friends cheer him on from the crowd, and their encouragement gives him the push he needs. He regains his confidence, seizes the moment, and ends up winning first place. His friends are thrilled and tell him they're proud of him. They urge him to talk to his mom again and try to convince her of his point of view. He agrees. When he returns home, he apologizes to her for lying and asks her to let him follow his dream. She tells him that he needs to focus on his studies and get good grades first. Then he can decide what path he wants. The nerd is overjoyed. His mom has finally changed, and now treats him with understanding. The next day at school, the nerd thanks his friends for everything they've done for him. It's the last day of the semester, and they're all about to start the New Year holiday. They decide to go out together and have a good time. After school, they head out, stroll through the market to buy some gifts, and then the idol invites them to lunch at a restaurant as a thank you for helping him study. They take pictures together to create happy memories and spend a fun, joyful day. The next day, the nerd decides to join a programming training camp to improve his skills. Leo comes to see him off and jokingly says, "Have a safe trip." He's happy now that the nerd will be gone, thinking the path is clear for him to be alone with Yoon. But when he goes to see her, he's surprised to find the idol already there, having breakfast with her. He finds out that the idol asked Yoon to help him study during the break. Leo starts to feel jealous and immediately says that he also wants to study. But in reality, both of them just want to get closer to Yoon and win her heart. Yoon walks in and finds them sleeping instead of studying, and she gets mad and wakes them up. They all decide to go out to the supermarket to buy some groceries. Unfortunately, at the store, some fans recognize the idol and start chasing him. He runs away, and with the help of our hero, Leo, he manages to escape. When they get back home, another argument breaks out. Both Leo and the idol want to cook for Yoon and have her eat their food. Then one of them gets an idea. Let's both cook, and she'll be the judge. She actually leaves and lets them stay alone in the kitchen. But each of them starts sabotaging the other's food to win the challenge. Because of that, they start fighting and nearly destroy the kitchen. Yoon gets angry, comes in, and scolds them, saying, "What's wrong with you guys? Compete fairly. The one who deserves it will win." They're convinced by her words, and each of them brings out their inner Chef Burak, trying to do their best. They finish at the same time and manage to cook their favorite dishes. When it's time for the results, Yoon comes in to taste the food, but she decides to blindfold herself so she can give her opinion without knowing whose dish is whose. She ends up liking Leo's dish the most, so he wins the challenge. He's happy and keeps saying, "Smash those likes and subscriptions. Let's get the channel to 2 million. And if you think it's hard, just remember that I cooked something our heroine loved." They all sit together and talk with her, and they learn that he learned cooking from his father because he wanted to help and take the burden off her. Yoon remembers her own father who passed away. She tells them how much she misses him, especially because he used to cook for her and take care of her. Leo is moved by her words and promises to cook all her favorite foods from now on to make up for her loss. He gets closer to her, and it seems like he's just about to confess his feelings. At that moment, the idol steps in, calling out to her and unintentionally ruining the romantic moment. He starts playing the piano, and everyone is impressed by his talent. They enjoy listening to him, all smiles and good vibes. At the end of the day, Leo and the idol say their goodbyes and leave. On the way, the two of them keep chatting, getting to know each other better. They both agree that whoever ends up with Yoon must take good care of her and never hurt her because she means so much to them. The next day, Yoon and her brother wake up to find a crowd of reporters waiting outside their house. They find out that rumors have spread, claiming that Yoon is in a relationship with the idol. She feels confused and doesn't know how to leave the house. But Leo comes to help. He takes her through the back door, trying to get her out unnoticed. However, the reporters spot them and start chasing. Leo runs at full speed, and luckily they manage to escape. He takes her to his place and they sit together trying to figure out a solution. They soon realize that someone must have secretly taken pictures of them, and that's how the rumors started. Dahi, the smart one, calls them and says he'll use his programming skills to help find out who's behind it. Yoon feels upset because the rumors have damaged her reputation, but Leo reassures her, promising that he'll stay by her side until the truth comes out. She thanks him and tells him she needs to go back home to get some clothes, and then she'll come back to stay with him for a while until things calm down. He insists on going with her, but when they arrive at her house, they find a group of fangirls waiting outside, fans of the idol. As soon as they see her, they rush at her, full of jealousy, thinking she's stolen him from them. They're so furious they almost turn her into French fries. But Leo protects her with his body, taking the hits himself. Fortunately, the idol arrives just in time and distracts the fans so Yoon and Leo can slip into the house. Inside, Leo cleans her wound and puts a bandage on it. Even though it's a small injury, he's clearly worried. He gently blows on it to ease her pain. Such a sweetheart. Her brother gets annoyed and says, "Hey man, take it easy. We're all here. Don't you see my face? I look like a meatball. Are you not going to treat me too?" Suddenly, Yoon gets a message from the idol. He apologizes for the trouble she's gone through because of him and promises to fix it. Leo decides to spend the night at her place to protect her. He wants to sleep in her room to stay close. What a cheeky guy. But our girl is well-mannered and raised right. She tells him, "Try that at your mom's house," and kicks him out of the room. He ends up sleeping in her brother's room, but spends the whole night tossing and turning, unable to sleep, thinking about the person who spread the rumors. The next day, the idol goes live and clears things up. He says Yoon is an old friend from childhood who used to tutor him, and there's nothing romantic between them. He apologizes to his fans and asks them not to bother her because she's important to him, like a sister. Yoon is touched when she sees the video. Suddenly, Dahi, the brainy one, calls and says, "I found out who spread the rumors," laughing. The idol decides to go talk to the person. When he confronts him, he's surprised to find that the guy feels remorseful. They learn that a senior journalist pressured him into doing it because he needed the money. He apologizes and promises to make things right. The person confesses to what he did, and the idol sees that he truly regrets it. He decides to forgive him. However, the boy's mother finds out what happened and feels deeply embarrassed. She apologizes to the school administration and decides to transfer him to another school. And just like that, the problem is resolved and our heroes return to their normal lives. To celebrate, they all go to the idol's place. Dahi arrives from camp, and Yoon insists on cooking for everyone herself. She goes into the kitchen, but the truth is, she's terrible at cooking. The only thing she's good at is studying, so she completely ruins the food. The boys are scared to eat it and want to run away, but she stops them and says, "Either you eat or you head to the bathroom." They're confused. "What's the connection between food and the bathroom?" She replies, "If you're not going into the bathroom, how are you going to come out again? I cooked, so now you have to eat." They have no choice but to listen to her because they care about her and don't want to upset her. After the meal, Dahi gives her a gift he brought with him, but he's too shy to hand it to her directly. They all agree to go to bed early, since tomorrow is the first day of the new school term. Later that night, the idol's manager visits him and offers him a chance to enroll in a university in America to study music. He's shocked. He doesn't want to leave his friends, but she tells him he needs to focus on his future and gives him time to think about it. After she leaves, he sits alone, lost in thought. He's torn and doesn't know what decision to make. He loves Yoon and wants to stay by her side. The next day, the students return to school, excited and happy to see their classmates again. When they enter the classroom, the teacher comes in and asks them to focus, reminding them that this is their final term before graduation. Later, the idol asks to speak with Yoon privately. She gets nervous, thinking there might be new rumors, but he reassures her and says it's about something else. He asks if she'd like to study abroad. She's surprised by the question, but tells him she can't do that. She doesn't want to leave her family behind. He's disappointed because he was hoping she would travel with him. He walks away feeling frustrated and heartbroken. That night, Yoon keeps thinking about what he said. What did he really mean by that? Suddenly, Leo shows up outside her house and asks her to come with him. Of course, she's thrilled and quickly heads down. He takes her to a place he decorated just for her, filled with lights and a special meal he made himself. Yoon is touched by his thoughtfulness and the fact that he cooked for her. Then he asks her to stay by his side until he fulfills his dream of becoming a successful runner. He promises never to leave her and says that even while he's running, he'll carry her with him so she can run too. Yoon is moved by his words and starts to feel something for him. They walk together under the lights, sharing a beautiful, heartfelt moment, growing closer. When Yoon returns home, she finds her mother sitting with her brother, telling him stories about their father. Yoon joins them, and they look through old photos. At his assistant's place, they find out that the idol is going to travel soon. But before that, he has to hold a big farewell concert. The next day, news spreads around the school. The idol decides to invite all the students, and he especially asks Yoon to come. But she tells him that exams are coming up and she needs to study. Still, he insists and makes her promise she'll attend. She's surprised by how serious he is, and in the end, she agrees. That night, she goes to the party and is surprised to see that the whole school showed up. The idol takes the stage and thanks everyone, especially Yoon, for being in his life, saying she's always supported him. He begins to sing a song he wrote just for her, filled with memories from their childhood and all the good times they shared. Leo's friends start to feel that the idol is about to confess his feelings. They message Leo to let him know what's happening. But at that moment, Leo is training hard for an upcoming championship. When he sees the messages, he rushes to get there before it's too late. After the concert ends, the idol confesses his feelings to Yoon. He tells her he's leaving soon and asks her to go with him. She thanks him for his feelings, but gently turns him down. She tells him she sees him as a brother and that he'll always be her close friend. She gives him back his necklace, asking him to take care of himself and telling him she'll always remember him. She walks away. Later, Leo arrives thinking he's too late, but Yoon meets him and tells him that she chose to say goodbye to the idol because he's leaving and not to worry. She turned down his offer to be with him. Leo is overjoyed. He walks her home and thanks her for not going abroad. Then he asks her to wait for him until he fulfills his dream, and she agrees. He says goodbye and leaves. The next day, the idol is getting ready to travel, but he's surprised to find all his friends waiting to say goodbye to him. Even though Leo and Dahi should be happy, the road is now clear for them to get closer to Yoon. They both feel sad deep inside because they had come to see him as a true friend. They say goodbye to him and ask him to take care of himself. The idol is touched because for the first time in his life, he feels like he truly has real friends. He tries to hug Yoon as a farewell gesture, but Leo and the others don't give him the chance. After he leaves, the group returns to school and starts training for their university entrance fitness tests. Yoon notices that a girl is trying to get close to Leo. She feels jealous and wants to go over to them, but suddenly, she feels dizzy and faints. Dahi catches her and rushes her to the school clinic. The doctor reassures them she's okay. It's just anemia from too much studying and not eating properly. When Leo finds out, he immediately goes to talk to her. He takes her phone and sets up alarms to remind her to eat regularly. He also asks her to send him pictures of her meals every day so he can make sure she's eating right. Yoon is touched by how much he cares and she agrees to do it. Then Leo offers to take her out for a break. They go out together, but Yoon suddenly feels shy as Leo starts to get close to her. She leaves him without replying and runs off. When she gets home, she keeps thinking about what happened, feeling regretful and blaming herself for not responding to him. She decides to distract herself by studying, trying to stop thinking about him. But suddenly, Leo shows up outside her house and calls for her. He asks her to come down so they can go out together. She pretends to play hard to get, saying she agrees to go, but inside, she's over the moon with excitement. She gets dressed in her prettiest dress, and when Leo sees her, he's stunned by how beautiful she looks. He keeps staring at her, clearly enchanted. He takes her to a restaurant and orders all her favorite dishes. They eat together happily, enjoying each other's company. After that, they go to the mall where he buys her lots of gifts. At the end of the day, they decide to go to the cinema. Leo, being a bit mischievous, chooses a horror movie, thinking she'll get scared and jump into his arms. But the opposite happens. It's him who can't handle the movie. Yoon laughs at how scared he gets and gently comforts him like a child. The next day, Leo takes her to the sports field to help her train and improve her fitness. He ties a rope around her waist so she stays close to him. Yoon feels shy but can't help being happy. They keep training and spend a lovely time together, both enjoying themselves. When they finish and sit down to chat, Leo tells Yoon that today is his birthday. He wanted to spend it with her. She gets emotional because she didn't know, and she immediately starts singing happy birthday to him. Meanwhile, Dahi sees them together and feels jealous. He gets upset as it becomes clear to him that she doesn't love him. He decides to step away from her life and quietly leaves, crying because he feels like he lost her. Later that night, Leo returns home and finds that his family had prepared a birthday cake for him. He celebrates with them happily and thanks them, but he still thinks about Dahi. Knowing that Dahi's family is traveling and he's alone, Leo decides to bring him some cake. But when he shows up, Dahi treats him coldly, saying he doesn't like sweets. He leaves Leo at the door and goes inside. Leo notices the change in Dahi's behavior and senses that something is wrong. The next day at school, Leo sees that Yoon is acting different. She's not herself. He tries to talk to her after class, but she leaves early with her brother. At home, we learn that today is the anniversary of her father's death. She remembers the time when she was little and they all went on a trip as a family, her mom, dad, brother, and her. Her dad had asked her to take care of her mom and little brother when he's gone. Yoon had promised to do that. We learn he had a serious illness and knew his time was near, so he made sure to leave her with that responsibility. Yoon tries to comfort her brother by taking him into their father's room. They look through old photos and read some of their dad's journals. While reading, she notices that her father had written down the symptoms he experienced before he died, like dizziness, fainting frequently, and unexplained bruises on his body. Later, when Yoon enters her own room, she notices marks on her body and remembers that she fainted twice recently at school. She starts to worry that she might have the same illness her father had. She spends the whole night overthinking and can't sleep. The next day at school, she goes to the nurse and tells her about the symptoms she's been having. The nurse reassures her that her father's illness wasn't genetic, but still recommends that Yoon get a scan to be sure. Yoon leaves the nurse's office still scared. When she returns to class, she's distracted and lost in thought. One of her friends notices and tries to talk to her, but Yoon snaps and yells at her. Everyone is shocked by her strange behavior. This isn't like her at all. She can't handle the pressure and leaves the classroom. Leo follows her immediately to check on her and tries to calm her down. He asks if she's hiding something from him. But Yoon knows he has a big competition in 2 days, so she refuses to tell him what's going on to avoid distracting him. She tells him that her nerves are on edge because exams are coming up. They head back to class, and she apologizes to her friend for how she acted. She sits next to her again, and her friend is happy, hugging her and forgiving her. Later in the study hall, Yoon goes to the library to find books about her father's illness so she can learn more about it. Dahi sees her and notices the title of the book. He immediately understands everything. He takes her outside the school to talk. Yoon tells him everything and begs him not to tell anyone, especially not Leo, since he has an important competition coming up and she wants him to stay focused. Dahi promises to keep her secret in exchange for letting him stay by her side and take care of her during this tough time. One of Leo's friends sees them together and assumes something is going on between them. He calls Leo to let him know, but Leo just laughs it off and doesn't take it seriously. The next day, Leo buys sweets for Yoon and waits outside her house to surprise her, but he's shocked to see her walking with Dahi on their way to school. He feels jealous and starts to suspect something about their relationship. He goes to school upset and gives the breakfast he brought to his friends instead. Then he takes Yoon outside the classroom to talk. He says, "I saw you with Dahi this morning." She tells him it was just a coincidence and asks him to trust her and not pressure her right now. Leo is confused by her words, but ultimately decides to trust her because he truly loves her. He walks her back to class again. After class, everyone leaves, but she stays in her seat, overwhelmed by her thoughts. Dahi approaches her and tells her she should talk to her mom and brother. They're her family and they need to know. But she's scared. What if she has the same illness her father had? She breaks down in tears and can't hold it in anymore. Dahi tries to comfort her, handing her tissues to wipe her tears. Suddenly, Leo's friends walk in and see them together. They jump to conclusions, thinking she's cheating on their friend. They go tell Leo what they saw, but Leo refuses to believe them. He trusts her and knows she loves him. That night, Yoon returns home and sits with her mom. She finally gathers the courage to tell her and her brother everything. She talks through her fears and even shows her mother some of the symptoms she's been noticing on her body. Her mom tells her they'll go to the hospital the next day to run tests and make sure she's okay. After Yoon goes to her room, her mother breaks down crying, terrified of losing her daughter the same way she lost her husband. Meanwhile, Leo stays up late and sends Yoon a message asking her to come to training the next day. She apologizes and says she can't make it. He feels sad but remembers what she said and decides not to pressure her. The next day, he goes to the field and trains alone, but his mind keeps wandering to her. He ends up tripping and falling, injuring himself. His friends rush to help him, but luckily, the injury is minor. They realize that Yoon is the reason he's distracted. He's constantly thinking about her. Later, when they return to class, Leo tries to walk normally in front of her so she doesn't worry, but his friends are still upset with her, blaming her for how he's been hurt, convinced she's cheating on him because of how her behavior has changed lately. At lunchtime, Yoon goes to eat alone, but her friend tells her that Leo hurt his leg. She feels guilty, realizing it's her fault, and decides she needs to talk to him. After school, she heads to the training field to find him. She tells him they should stay apart for a while. He needs to focus on the championship, and she needs to focus on her studies. Leo is shocked by her words and asks, "Did I do something to upset you?" She doesn't respond and walks away, leaving him confused and hurt. The next day, Yoon goes with her mom to the hospital for tests. The doctor recommends she get a full blood panel. Because of this, she misses school. Her friend notices this is the first time Yoon has ever missed class and becomes suspicious. She and Leo's friend go to question Yoon's brother. He tries to dodge the subject, but they press him until he gives in. He tells them everything about her possible illness. They're shocked and feel guilty for misjudging her. They agree to keep it a secret until the test results come back and it's confirmed whether she's really sick. That night, Leo sits alone in his room, lost in thought. He's sad, believing Yoon doesn't love him anymore. The next day is the championship. Coincidentally, Dahi also has a programming competition around the same time. They bump into each other and both wish each other good luck. Meanwhile, Yoon wakes up torn, unsure who to go support. In the end, she decides to follow her heart and go cheer for Leo because she loves him. She runs to grab her access pass, hoping to make it in time. At that moment, Leo is on the field, scanning the audience with hope in his eyes, wondering if she'll show up. The race begins and he starts running, but he's clearly distracted. He keeps looking into the audience, searching for her. Yoon is indeed on her way to him, but the running takes a toll on her. She feels dizzy and collapses. Because of that, Lee also loses focus and ends up losing the race. Unfortunately, he finishes in second place. Everyone feels sad for him. Then comes the day of the big scholarship competition. Lee's father shows up to watch him, wanting to see if his son is truly talented. But suddenly, Lee gets a phone call telling him that Yoon fainted and was taken to the hospital. He immediately leaves the competition and rushes to her side. When he arrives, he finds her asleep and feels heartbroken seeing her like that. Memories of their time together flood his mind, and he silently prays for her to get better. He stays by her side until she wakes up. When she sees him, she's overwhelmed. She realizes he gave up the competition for her and feels guilty. Later, when Lee returns home, his family is waiting to see his championship medal, thinking he won. But he walks past them quietly and goes to his room. He sits alone, depressed. Then his friend tells the family that Lee actually lost the race. They feel sorry for him. When the top student, nicknamed the Nerd, hears what happened, he visits Lee to comfort him. They talk and remember their childhood. Back then, Lee had won a big running competition and became the most famous student in school. The Nerd says, You know, even though I was the top student, I used to envy you. You were talented and doing what you loved, while I was just following what my parents told me. Studying to come first, but never truly enjoying life. Don't lose hope. Try again. I'm sure you'll succeed." Lee is deeply moved by his words and thanks him. The next day, Lee goes back to the track, trying to train. But memories of his loss haunt him, and he feels defeated. He can't run. The coach talks to him and encourages him to believe in his talent. Slowly, Lee regains confidence and runs faster than ever. That night, he sees Yoon walking home with the nerd. He stops her and says, "I won't pressure you again, but I have one condition. Come back to me. Talk to me like you used to, even if we stay just friends." She doesn't answer at first, and he walks away. But she gets emotional, grabs his hand, and asks to talk. She finally tells him the truth about her illness, the secret she was hiding. "Yes, I was scared I might die, and I thought if you got too close to me, you'd get hurt, so I stayed away from you to protect you." Lee breaks down emotionally and tells her never to hide anything from him again. Yoon is moved by his words and finally feels ready to be with him. The nerd returned home. But when he got home, he found his mother waiting for him. She asked to talk to him and said, "I gave you a chance, but you lost the competition. That's why I've decided to transfer you to another school." She did that to distance him from his friends. She asked him to focus on studying to get high grades. Her son was hurt by her words, but he had lost hope of convincing her. He went into his room and cried. The next day, Yoon's test results came out. She went to the hospital with her mother and brother. They were anxious, holding their breath, wanting to be by her side. At the doctor's office, they were relieved to hear that her condition was good. It was just anemia. They hugged her joyfully and asked her to take care of her health and eat well. Later, Yoon returned to school and shared the good news with her friends, who were all happy for her. At the same time, Lee found out that one of the runners had gotten injured and had to withdraw from the competition, which meant Lee could take his place. His friends were thrilled with the news and decided to celebrate. After school, they headed to their usual restaurant, but were surprised when it didn't show up. Yoon texted him, but he didn't reply. He wanted her to get used to his absence because he was transferring schools. The next day, he went with his parents to withdraw his file from the school. But to his surprise, he found the students waiting for him with a huge banner. They wanted him to stay. He was deeply moved by what they did. They still cared about him even though he never really had close friends before. Despite that, his mother was still determined to transfer him. The school principal had to personally intervene and speak with her. She told her that her son was the smartest student in the school and asked her to let him do what he truly loves. He took his wife and left, feeling reassured. The students were overjoyed and ran to hugging him with happiness. But the school reminded them that final exams were approaching and asked them to focus on studying well. The next day, Leo participated in the championship once again, and this time, he succeeded in winning first place. Then the countdown to final exams began, less than a month left, and the students began studying hard. Each one of them put in their best effort to get into the university of their dreams, and indeed they all managed to do well in the exams. On the last day of school, their teacher told them she was proud of them and would never forget them. They were moved by her words and thanked her for everything she had done for them. They celebrated their graduation from school. After that, they went on to take their university entrance exams, each with their families waiting anxiously outside. Our heroes succeeded in getting accepted into the universities they had dreamed of, and their families were proud of them. Later, Leo took Yoon back to the first place they had ever met. They reminisced about their memories together and all the beautiful moments they had shared. She told him, "You're the best thing that ever happened to me in school." She thanked him for always standing by her side. Then she opened her heart and confessed her feelings. She told him that she loved him and could never let him go again. Our heroine took a brave step, choosing to come closer to him herself. He was surprised, almost in disbelief, feeling like he was dreaming. He responded with his emotions, telling her that he had fallen in love with her from the very first moment he saw her. They agreed to be together, to go to university hand in hand, and once they graduate, they would get married and live a happy life. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Check out more recaps you'll absolutely love right here.